everybody, welcome to another video by Liminal Spaces. So today we are talking about Trap by M. Night Shyamalan. We just went and saw the film and we had a wonderful time. It's a very fun movie and I really enjoyed it. I've kind of learned something interesting that I wanted to talk about with this, and that is that my perception of something can be influenced by how I hear about it. For instance, if somebody tells me there's this new genius film that's just going to take the world by storm and I have to go see it, and I go and watch it and it's just kind of good, then I think I'm going to be really disappointed and I'm going to not enjoy the film at all. On the other hand, if somebody says this movie's total trash, you shouldn't waste your time, you don't want to watch this at all, if I watch it and it's actually kind of okay, then I probably will like it a lot more than I should. You know what I mean? I think that knowing what you're getting into is very important in helping you truly be able to judge whether something is really good or not. This recently happened to me with a review that I did for Inception and a review that I did for The Acolyte. So Inception I did not like because there's a lot of hype around that film. I feel like everybody really loves that movie. And when I watch it, I'm just amazed at how many problems there are with the film. And then when it came time to look at The Acolyte, there were so many negative things being said on YouTube about it. And I know that that's a small community. You can't just base whether something is successful or not on the vocal community on YouTube. You know what I mean? But it's the one that I spend a lot of time hearing. So I was hearing all this negative feedback and I went and watched it and it actually wasn't that bad. So those two products to me are about the same, but I would call one bad and one okay. And that I'm beginning to realize that needs to balance out better. You know what I mean? Because those products, as far as I could tell from the comments that I was receiving about what people thought, the people who bothered to actually say why they felt the way they felt about it were saying really the exact same things about The Acolyte that I was saying about Inception. So I've kind of realized that the way you're introduced to something can truly affect how you feel about it. And that also got me thinking about way back about Alien 3. Alien 3 did not do well. And I know that David Fincher, of course, had trouble with the producers of the film. There was a lot of fighting and he didn't have the control that he wanted. And the movie didn't turn out the way that he wanted it to. But I honestly believe that the reason that film did not do well, straight up, is because of the advertising campaign. Because the ad literally says, in space no one can hear you scream, but on Earth everyone can. And that film does not take place on Earth, you know. I think people went and watched that and were instantly disappointed because it's such a small movie. It's a great movie. It honestly is a very well-made, interesting film. It has problems, of course. You know, I'm not saying it's perfect or anything, but it should have done better than it did. And I feel like it would have done better if the advertising campaign would have made more sense for the film that people were going to see. It's a sad, weird little movie, and not at all what it was advertised to be, especially coming after Aliens, right? Where they'd already upped the action quota like 6 times. And then to talk about them coming to Earth, so people expect it to go up even more. I feel like it's really important that you understand what you're about to see so that you can have the right experience if you want to. So, for this film, I definitely recommend you go see this movie if you are in the mood to just go to a matinee, grab some popcorn and a big drink, and giggle through a weird little movie. If that's what you're looking for, I think you will have a blast with this movie. It's kind of an independent film, to be perfectly honest. It's written by M. Night Shyamalan, it's directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and it's produced by M. Night Shyamalan. And of course, he has a couple partners that help him in production with his company, but it's M. Night Shyamalan. his daughter is in the film. She has a major role in the film. I'm sure all of his friends are the people that worked on the crew. You know what I mean? It's an M. Night Shyamalan film. And that gives it a very independent feel. It clearly does not have the support of a major production house that's bringing in an editor who's edited 60 films and a music writer that's written music for 60 films, and you know what I mean? It's not like that. It's a very small, simple thriller. And it's just designed to make you kind of go, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? You know what I mean? That's the whole point of it, is for you to go, I can't believe they did that. That's so weird. You know, it's a very simple, tiny thing. And if you know that before you go in, I think you can have a lot of fun. There's a lot of humor in the film. M. Night Shyamalan I always think back to Signs when they have those tinfoil hats on when they're sitting in the closet, right? It's that kind of weird humor, you know? And there's things that I would call mistakes, but I know it's simply because the budget's lower. You know, they're not doing 40 takes for every take. They're just trying to get what they can as quick as they can. And it makes things slightly uneven. And it makes some of the performances a little bit uneven. So I'm going to go into some spoilers now. If you haven't seen the movie and you're excited to see something like what I've described, this kind of just fun movie experience where you can walk out with your friends after and talk about, I didn't like that part so much, that was just kind of weird, but I really had fun with this part, and it was so cute when that happened. And you know, I know cute is a weird way to describe a thriller, but it really is just this wacky little movie. If you don't want the spoilers, just stop watching. So acting wise, the lead character is portrayed by Josh Hartnett. I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce all these names. I apologize. He's a good actor, but this is a really complex role because he has to be this really lovable dad and at the same time this completely psychotic serial killer. And you can see this in the preview. The preview lays out the movie, which is brilliant. I really love that, especially from M. Night Shyamalan. The preview is basically the first 5 minutes of the film. It's just excellently laid out so that you can just go and watch this person try to escape. That's all it is. How does he escape? Super fun, super basic, really well done. But being able to pull off both of those characters in the same film is a very difficult task. And in that preview, I think you get a good example of this, where he's asking the guy who's selling the shirts, why are all these cameras here? Why are all the cops here? And the guy explains to him, they're trying to catch a serial killer. They know he's at the concert, so they're going to catch him. And in the preview, if I remember, they show him smiling, and it's a close-up on his face. It's kind of an awkward shot because it's so close to his face. He's kind of smiling, and then he looks really menacing. They do a shot cut, and suddenly he's not smiling anymore, right? And that kind of playfulness as an approach to this character, I don't feel like was the strongest choice, but I do feel like it's a very affordable choice. It's kind of a surface choice. It's a fast choice. When you're mad, you got to look mad, and when you're happy, you got to look happy. You know, it's kind of portrayed like that, and it's not just the actor's fault if they don't have time to really talk about it and to really go for the takes that they need. Certain takes can feel a little bit awkward, and they do in this film. There's a couple other cast members that I do want to mention just because it's really interesting. His daughter is in the film. Her name is Seleka. And once again, I'm really sorry for not saying names correctly. She does all the singing in the movie. There is a lot of singing in this film, but they really do an excellent job of it because they never play a full song. I don't like a lot of music in films, but the song will start, it'll kind of set the mood, but then the plot goes on, which is really great. There's probably 12 different tunes in this, and because they're just doing that little brief intro thing and then the plot goes on, it doesn't feel like, I never was thinking, oh my gosh, another song. It never feels like that. They do a brilliant job. And the songs are good. I want to say good. That is not the kind of music that I listen to. So I can't really say like, well, it really sounds like Lady Gaga's third album or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know. I honestly do not know. But it all sounds just fine to me. So I wouldn't be worried that you're just going to have to go and watch this weird concert of a bunch of songs you've never heard before, because that is not how it plays out. It simply augments the film. It is not the film, which is great. They do a really great job of that. And she does a great job singing and performing and whatever. She's great. Hayley Mills is in this, which is really interesting. She is the original person to play the young women in the Parent Trap Disney movie. She's also in Pollyanna, the Disney movie, and 60 and 61, I believe. And she is playing like the lead FBI investigator in this film, which is awesome. It was so cool to see this actress doing this really intense, interesting role. I really appreciated it. It was very neat. And I didn't know what the connection was for M. Night Shyamalan. And then as I was doing research, I realized that her husband had a small role in The Sixth Sense, and he had a small role in Unbreakable. So that must be how M. Night Shyamalan knows her, and he must have just asked her, do you want to be in this movie? I got a great part, and it really is a great part. It's super cool to see her doing that. So that's really interesting. And Alison Pill is in this. I really like her. I always have. I think she's excellent. The most recent thing that I've seen her in is Picard. She's in Picard mostly season 1, I think, and probably season 2. And then season 3, I think she has a really small role in. I think she's only in it for just a moment, in fact. But she's in Picard, and I think she's really excellent. I really like her. She's probably the best actor in the film, I'm going to say. I really enjoyed her performance, but I do want to point out this film has a twist, okay? But the neat thing is it's very small. It's not much of a plot point. So if you read something that says this film doesn't have a twist, it's okay. If I think that M. Night Shyamalan got kind of a bad reputation for always trying to put a twist in his movies. In fact, to the point that it may have actually hurt the plot, trying to get this twist to work. So I feel like people now saying this movie doesn't have a twist, you don't have to worry, just go and watch it. That's just a way of saying that the script is well put together. It's what you expect, you go and watch it, and you just enjoy it. I appreciate twists. I like the Twilight Zone. I like twists in movies. I don't want them to come at the detriment of the plot, of course. I want the movie to be good. And in this case, I think the movie is good in its own little weird way. I think this movie is a good movie. So, there is a weird little twist. And the twist is that the wife turned him in. You find out in the beginning of the film that this concert is a trap. The FBI has shown up, there's SWAT people there, there's police there. They are all there to catch this killer because they know the killer is going to be there. And the way they know it is they found a safe house that the killer would use, and in that safe house was part of a ticket stub to this concert. So you don't know how the ticket stub got in the safe house. But M. Night Shyamalan does not push this. There isn't a scene where he's saying to himself, how did they find that ticket? I know that ticket was lost when, right after I bought it, I suddenly couldn't find it anymore, but I couldn't tell who took it. And I definitely didn't take it to the safe house. And why would I leave it there? And why was it torn? And none of that stuff is in the film. But there's this very interesting reveal scene where he says, I believe that you started to guess. He's talking to his wife. I believe that you started to guess. And she confesses, yes, I'm the one who grabbed the ticket. I'm the one who followed you to your safe house and then later broke in, left the ticket there, made a call to the police anonymously and let them know So there is this weird twist in the film, but it's really underplayed, and I really appreciate that because I think it made the film better. I would not be surprised, honestly, and I'm not saying this is 100% true, I have no idea. I just would not be surprised if they put extra scenes on the physical media release of this. There might be a scene where he really questions how they got that ticket, but it's not in the movie. But what it does for the actress, for Alison Peel, is a weird, it puts her in a weird spot because when her daughter calls her and says, I'm in the limo with Lady Gaga, basically, with this really famous singer, and she wants to come over to our house and have some pie. The warning bells that would have been going off in her mind about why, why in the world would this really ultra famous singer be coming home with her daughter unless something weird happened with the dad, And I believe that a conversation like that probably got started with M. Night Shyamalan. I feel like this actress, Allison, would have said, okay, how do I react to this? How much do you want to foreshadow what's going to come? And in the film, the decision was clearly not at all. There is no indication at all that she in any way feels like something bad's going to happen. So that felt a little bit weird to me, but at the same time, I was kind of happy about it because it's the simple solution. Also, it doesn't push the twist. We just got to watch the film play out as it did. It didn't matter that much who called the police. I was never thinking to myself, I wonder how they got the ticket. Because the film itself, if you start to pull at this and think about it, it will unravel like crazy, right? This isn't Silence of the Lambs. This isn't a really well constructed, tight, gone over by 27 different people to give notes type film. This is just M. Night Shyamalan making a movie with his buddies. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what it is. So I was not trying to pick at anything. I was just sitting there giggling at the, at the weird things that he was trying to do to be able to get out, and him trying to pop between these different characters, when the cops are like, who are you? And he's like, oh, I work at the hot dog stand. You know what I mean? It's fun. It really is fun. I feel like, honestly, and I've always kind of felt this way about M. Night Shyamalan, I feel like he makes movies for younger people. I feel like this is a thriller for 12-year-olds, which is really a weird thing, but I think it kind of is. There's not a lot of gore. There's one moment that is pretty shocking. It's a scary thing to happen to a person, but he didn't dwell on it. It's over pretty quick and then it's gone. So there is one post-credit scene. And I can't really call it post-credit because it honestly happens like 5 seconds into the credits. I feel like 6 names come up and then the post-credit scene happens. It's really fast. It is definitely worth waiting and seeing. Like I said, it's only like 20 seconds, so that you have to wait. It is not a big deal. I really had to go to the restroom because I don't like to go in the middle of a movie. So I was like, oh, the credits are rolling. I think I might try to. And then suddenly it started. I swear it was like that fast. And I watched it, and then I went to the restroom while other people stayed. And they said nothing else happened after that. So I would stay for that. It's very cute. It's funny. It's a neat little thing that they put in there. All right, well, that's our review. I would definitely go and see it, but I would completely try to understand that you're going to see a low-budget, kind of independent movie. It was distributed by Warner Brothers in America, but it's all M. Night Shyamalan and his producer friends. So I do think it made money, which is good. I couldn't find any real solid numbers, probably because it's kind of early. I assume by next week we'll be able to see some real actual numbers, what the budget was and how much it's brought in internationally, things like that. But I would recommend it. Just know what you're going to see. You'll have a great time. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button. If you want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and have a great day.